This is Dolynny TV joining you live outside Main Street Beer and Barbecue in Airdrie. Once again, it's Wing Night Wednesday, and oh boy, I can't even talk. It's been that long since I last did one of these car videos for you. But of course, the Edmonton Oilers closing in on the trade deadline here in the next little bit, and figured it might be a good time after Patrick from the Oilers Fanatic got on my case a little bit last night to get back, chat with you a little bit here, and at least cover off a couple of things that are coming up with the Oilers over the next 48 hours as we close in on the trade deadline. We're actually less than 48 hours from the trade deadline. By this time on Friday, we should really have a good idea of where the Oilers sit, good idea of what the Oilers have done, and good idea of what the Oilers might be capable of come the NHL playoffs here by the end of the season. So right now, as per always at this time of year, we're lined up to possibly be talking about the LA Kings in round number one. So the Oilers would love to improve that a little bit, as it were. And well, right now the Vegas Golden Knights are the team we got to take down out of that top spot, but we got to start playing a heck of a lot better than we are to get that accomplished here right now. So for the Oilers, what they got to do is a laundry list of things, and it starts top to bottom everywhere with the product on the ice. So the trade deadline, yes, it can address some needs, but it's not going to address the biggest elephant in the room, which is the compete level and the care level that the Edmonton Oilers just aren't putting into hockey games since, well, a few games before the Four Nations break. So yeah, the Oilers had a golden opportunity to really seize a strong lead in the Pacific Division and have since fumbled the bag really heavily. They did acquire Trent Frederick here this week, and well, he will be a massive addition for the NHL playoffs and, of course, for just the stretch drive of the season. He's on the shelf for the next little bit anyway, so you got to imagine that's going to hurt the Oilers not having that body in the lineup after spending some assets for that, right? But I think he's scheduled to be back in maybe a week, 2 weeks, whatever it is, so shouldn't be too long of a timeline to see the newest addition for the Edmonton Oilers. I believe he's wearing number 21 is what I saw on the old social medias today, last worn by Adam Ernie. But yeah, it's kind of one of those situations right now. If you're the Edmonton Oilers, is trade deadline acquisitions, you're probably only making two or three. So the Oilers have only one or two moves left. And I guess if you're making two or three, maybe Max Jones works in there as that third one. So maybe you only indeed have one move left as the Oilers. I think naturally we would spend that on the defense. That makes sense. That's been the whole target all season long. Shore up the defense. The rest will figure it out. John Klingberg, I think um, this sounds terrible, but as expected, has not been a solution for the Edmonton Oilers defense. I mean, John Klingberg taking a chance coming to Edmonton to try and get his career back on track. That's great. But yeah, it's unfortunate that for him it just has not at all worked out. And I mean, what else was to really be expected? And it's tough. You come to a number one team in the division kind of deal and try to jump aboard ship as a guy who hasn't played in over a year at that point. That's just not asking for a recipe for success. So tough go there, but obviously that still remains that we need to upgrade on the defense and we need to find something, some way to get us a steady partner for Mr. Darnell Nurse. I know Troy Stetcher's done a good enough job at times, but if you're relying on Troy Stetcher in your top 4D in Game 7 of the Stanley Cup playoffs, I'll tell you, Florida's going to win again just like that. So that's the tough part there if you're the Edmonton Oilers this current, is the defense does desperately need to be upgraded. But as we've talked pretty much from the start of the season, and you know what, you're able to laugh it off at the start of every year because you know the Oilers' goaltending is going to be terrible out of the gate. It has been absolutely awful all season. There's been good stretches, right? We've been able to praise Stu and Pickard. At one point, everybody thought, you just put Pickard in net and it'll all solve itself. Well, now we've seen that fail, and now you have two goalies nobody likes. So we're equally in bad position with a starter and a backup. So again, as much as nobody wants to hear it, John Gibson's available. The Oilers won't trade for him. I know that. I'd be more shocked than I was with the Matthias Ekholm trade if the Oilers trade for John Gibson, which again they won't, but if they did, because there's really nobody else of elite starter quality. Whether you want to say John Gibson still got that in him or not, I don't care. It's still, that's where his career trajectory was for a long while, and still on this rebound season kind of is, injuries aside. But it's just tough, right? You think the obvious answer is the defense. The goaltending has been an absolute nightmare this year, for a team that should be just based on average performance in net, number one in the division, because they're just scoring enough goals to win and not allowing enough goals to lose. But instead, we're kind of not competing enough and not scoring enough goals to outwork our stuff here. So, yeah, it's just a big thing there. And I think to Clint's comment there in the chat, if you're just scrolling back on the replay, Clint, again, if the Oilers mentally fold because the goaltender gives up one goal, then Chris Knobloch's 100% right about this group. They're fragile. I mean, if one goal is enough for you to fold as a team when you're up 1-0, you give up the tying goal and you just fold and give up 6 straight. We got big problems. We got big problems, and it's well beyond Stuart Skinner or Cal Pickard's problem if the Oilers are folding and giving up 6 after giving up one. So that's kind of where the issue is. The Oilers, I mean, yeah, you know what? Maybe the upgrade on the defense settles that down and you stop giving up that bad goal against. Maybe. But obviously, yeah, no, upgrading on goaltending, I'm not saying it's not necessary, but yeah, there's so many things wrong with this team. Like I started this stream with, is the start of this is just the Oilers top to bottom since the break, whether it be defense, goaltending, offense, grind, grit, anything you want to say about the compete level, effort level, workmanship, whatever you want to say, gamesmanship, whatever you want to throw at this team coming out of the break, it has not at all been there for this Edmonton Oilers group, especially for a team that has had a few stretches this season where they have been fun to watch. But this team, I think, made themselves very easy to hate with the start of the season. And I think, obviously, if you're asking me why haven't you been posting, why haven't you been watching the games, is this team, for a team that had so much turnover in the offseason, guys that were fan favorites aren't here anymore, and young guys were lost on offer sheets. This team itself, the way they played out of the gate, the brand of hockey they're playing throughout the season, has not made them a very likable group, right? I think that's the tough part here, is nobody really truly sits here and says that they, miss Holloway, Fogle, all those guys, and actually truly understand that a year ago we wanted to run these guys out of town, right? Fogle only produced with Draisaitl. McLeod couldn't center his own line and he wouldn't hit. Dylan Holloway scored 9 points in 30 games when he was a top 10 pick and was supposed to be all this or whatever. I think it was top 14 actually. So everybody hated these guys a year ago at this time. Then the playoffs came. A couple of them got scratched, got the message, they got going. But nobody truly sits here and realizes that, and then also credits how poor the new group of players have done of a job of making themselves likable. Like that, the reason you want the other guys back so much, even though you actually truly hated them most of the time last year, is simply because these guys have made themselves, with their play style and their effort level and their consistency night to night, so hateable that the other guys actually look good. That I think is a good argument to make there. And if you haven't considered that, well, there you have it. There's kind of what's been going through my head, is the Oilers should be a thing I look forward to watching every night. But when you know that Jeff Skinner is going to be pushed off a puck with the slightest bit of body contact, Victor Arvidsson's going to wind up a one-timer from our own blue line because the puck came within 5 feet of him. I mean, then you've got the other guys on defense who are even half of our defense. Do we even know who half of them are at this point anymore? I don't think so. That's the other problem, is you just got a bunch of guys just filling holes till this mystery trade deadline acquisition comes in and solidifies the defense. So it's been a tough year, because really, for the most part of this season, I have not at all had much to like about the Oilers. Connor McDavid's having a terrible year. Leon Draisaitl scores every single starting goal of a game, and then we fold and give up 6 and lose anyway, so why did it even matter? Who cares? So maybe now we're seeing why I'm in posting. I've got a lot of complaining. We'll put it that way. I think it's something else. Starts with B, but a lot of complaining that I'm doing here in this live stream. But for the Oilers, right, the upgrade of Trent Frederick, I think we all love that. In closing, I think that's absolutely fantastic to see that Trent Frederick's back with the Edmonton Oilers and now ready to rock and roll for a playoff run for us. Not back, but with the Edmonton Oilers now. And then as well, you kind of see that we still have one more trade to make. Maybe Max Jones comes in and actually lights a fire under somebody's butt to hit a body on the opposition squad. I don't know, but yeah, for right now, this group of Edmonton Oilers players, despite their success and failures this season, have made themselves really unlikable from an Edmonton Oilers fan perspective. And that goes, kind of from top down, from management all the way through the coaching staff, all the way to the players and the effort level, because I don't think there's anybody sitting here satisfied with what the Edmonton Oilers are right now, currently, 48 hours prior to the trade deadline. Friends, thanks for being aboard. I'm going to head on out. It's Wing Wednesday, and I'm going to go crush some honey hot wings from Main Street Beer and Barbecue. Again, if you're ever in Airdrie, stop on down at Main Street. Get a. I don't advertise the adult beverages too much, but get a pint, get a plate of wings and see what it's all about for yourself. So for right now, though, I'm up on out of here. Have yourself a great night. We'll chat soon. Trade deadline 2 p.m. Mountain Time on Friday. I'm up on gone.